get crystal clear and define what it is you want and why you want it. Then just get obsessed with figuring out how to make it reality, whether that's YouTube videos, research, buying like an entry-level online course.
That was Paul Raimondo. Paul is a digital marketing expert, a business owner, but also the lead vocalist of a pop punk rock band called One True North, based in Perth, Australia. Honestly, if I listen to their music, it immediately takes me back to the early 2000s, so the pop punk rock term is actually pretty accurate. Now, the reason why I mentioned these multiple facets of his identity is because, first of all, the show is called State of the Creators, so we deal with creative elements in ours, but also his background in digital marketing creates for an interesting dynamic for his creative perspective. Because of Paul's knowledge in the world of digital marketing, he sees creativity and music in a very unique light to someone who doesn't. And that's what interested me about him. I wanted to know how he applied the analytical aspects of digital marketing to the creative side of things, and if it has worked out for him so far. Creatives often struggle with the former, so I felt that this was the perfect topic and the perfect person to have this conversation with. So in this episode, we talk about building a presence online, especially for musicians, his journey so far, the world of YouTube, and a bit about his hair. Now, if you listen to the audio version of the podcast and you listen to it regularly, just know that I see you and I appreciate you so much. It's incredible that I've been so inconsistent with the releases, with the whole lockdowns and the pandemic, but you have kept up, so thank you so much. And as always, you can sign up for my occasional newsletter on www.tausivakas.com. Without further ado, here is State of the Creators, Episode 4, Season 2, featuring Paul Raimondo, with me, Tausivakas. Hope you enjoy the show. This is the State of the Creators, a show about creative individuals who are on a quest to build something out of nothing. It's probably the most intimate form of media, won't you say?
100%. I really want to start a podcast, but
why don't you?
Trying to build a big business.
You are getting there. I see you're hiring as well.
I am.
And you've already hired someone new. So
correct.
That shows growth.
They'll I've been doing this 6 years now. The first 5 years of the business, all I wanted to do was just be a one-man operator, a few contractors, and a +1.
Yeah.
And I was very happy, because I started business relatively young. I was 25. And all I want to do is just gallivant around the world, speak at conferences. I didn't want to sacrifice my 20s for the pursuit of building an agency, and I didn't want to build an agency. And then I did all the things that I set out to do when I started the business.
Yeah.
And I turned 30, in July, and I looked back and I was I'm really stoked, really grateful for all of these incredible experiences that I've had. I've built something really cool. I'm now bored. I've ticked off all the things that used to excite me. I'm
and now in just full agency mode.
Now I'm just let's build a machine. But what I'm obsessed with is culture. I want to build, because there's a lot of method to my madness. There's a reason my name's on the door. There's a reason I do business the way that I do business. It's just all me, right? And I'm obsessed with the idea of building a really cool culture and mentoring, teaching, taking care of, providing for my staff that work for me.
Yeah.
And then by extension, making sure they're taken care of. That's my philosophy anyway.
Yeah.
If you keep your staff safe, they can put a roof over their heads. Their essential Maslow hierarchy of needs are met.
Yeah.
And then you can slowly push them towards the self-actualization goal, whether that's in their profession or working out what makes them tick.
Yep.
And then getting them there. And as a byproduct of that, you do incredible work for your clients.
Yeah, I think it is everything's a give and take, isn't it? It's you can't just expect something from someone and not give them something back. And I think that's the best way to look at it, because when you've got staff, you want to know why they want to do the work that they do.
100%. What makes them tick, man?
Exactly.
What gets them up in the morning? What are they working towards? My whole thing is every time I sit someone down, I try to figure out what makes them tick, and I'll ask them point blank what makes them tick, or a iteration of that phrase, question rather. And then I'm cool, what are you trying to do in 5 years? What are you trying to do in 10 years? How can I help you get there? Do you want to steal all my IP? Take it all and go start a competing business?
Yeah.
If you want to do that, we'll do that. I don't give a fuck. I want us to see you exceed and excel and like just be there along with that journey for you. Because I know that by investing, it's probably not. I think it's pragmatic.
Mm-hmm.
However, it costs a lot of time.
Yeah.
But then I think about the emotional return on investment, and it's like nothing is cooler.
It's long term, and plus you make friends for life.
That's it, man.
The cool thing is that I don't have an intro, so that basically was.
Oh, don't you love it?
I don't have like
He's
hey
on
guys.
it.
So none of that stuff, which is cool. But before I go into any of the creative stuff, the cool stuff that you do, the last time I saw you, your hair was different. Now it's blonde. Would you call it blonde?
It's kind of a bronzy blonde. My hair was very dark.
Yeah,
earlier.
it was.
And I got it bleached yesterday, and then toned a bit. And
Just in time for the podcast.
Well, yeah, I just did it actually all for this podcast. Yeah.
Thank you.
I knew we had this 3:30 p.m. locked in.
Exactly.
Friday. What's today? 4th of December. Like I was like,
I have to do it by then.
100%. And then next week I'm getting another bleach in it, because if I bleached it, well, not that I know anything about hair, but if I was to bleach it to the color that I wanted, it would have just gone all jelly and just been shit. And like, so bit of context, my hair started falling out about 3 years ago. That's when I really started noticing it. And then I only did something about it I started thinking about wanting to do something about it, because like I've naturally got a pretty like baldy crown, just like hereditary.
Yeah.
And then like my hairline started receding, and I was like, I love my hair. Like I love my hair.
Not in the mid-20s. You don't want to lose that.
Dude, 100%, man.
Yeah.
Like I love my hair, and like I got an ugly head. Like I know what my head's like underneath my hair, and I'm like, I got a massive birthmark in the back of my head. Anyway, I digress. So I started regrowing my hair.
Yeah.
And I said to myself when I started regrowing my hair that if it grew back, then I'm gonna dye it blonde.
Mm-hmm.
And it's grown back.
So
And
like obviously, have you been doing stuff?
yeah, so I was on
Keeps.
yeah, so
wow.
I went down the rabbit hole of, so it was Get Mosh was the first one that I was looking into, and they had an incredible user
Right.
experience, and that's like I work in marketing, and I've been doing it for a living for over 10 years now, and like I just am the best person to sell shit to, because not only do I appreciate being sold well,
Yeah.
marketed to well,
Yeah.
I will make purchase decisions on someone's funnel. Like if a company has invested like a wicked user interface and a wicked user experience,
Yeah.
and then they've got a wicked funnel, and then
Yeah.
then I'll nerd out. Like everything I buy, I'm going into like their Facebook page, I'm looking at their page transparency, I'm going to their ad library. I'm like
Just doing all the study.
but I'm like as a target audience, because I think when you can as objectively as possible, understand your subjective motivations
Yeah.
behind the purchase you're making, and then put your marketing hat on, and they're like, oh, how are they doing that, and why is that ticking the boxes as their target audience?
Yeah.
I digress. Went down that rabbit hole, and I spoke to my barbers and spoke to my doctor, and started on, because I didn't want to, because it's so expensive. And it's a great business.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great business. Like
Everybody, I mean, most guys start losing hair around that mark, and I know a lot of the, like I know Keeps, for example. It's one of the more
Yep.
popular ones these days. All the big YouTubers are apparently, pledging for it.
Mhm.
So things like that, it's massive right now. And
I think if you can find a product that's in a niche that is connected to vanity, that is also connected to self-confidence, self-efficacy, body image, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And because like it's such a, I mean, I'll speak from my own personal experience. Freaking out, mate.
It is a confidence thing as well.
100%.
It affects your confidence. So the way you present yourself and your, especially the way you are in your personality is, it's from what I know and what I've known so far, it depends a lot on your outlook. I mean how you look to others, and I think that if that gets affected, it is a mental game. So
100%. It's more like I can't really critique that. I agree.
So I guess for anyone who doesn't know who Paul Raimondo is, a quick recap.
Hey fam, my name is Paul. I help small business owners generate highly qualified leads and sales using Facebook ads and digital marketing funnels, and that is the pitch. I've been a small business owner for the last 6 years. I'll give you like the nutshell version of the career story. I started my career in like marketing bands on MySpace in 2007, 2008.
Brilliant.
Yeah, man. Like
the good old MySpace days.
Dude, it was loose. The organic reach was loose. The bulletin board was loose.
It was.
And I was a massive emo kid, like massive fringe and like eyeliner and all the rest of it. And I wasn't a musician, right? So, but I really wanted to be involved in the scene culture.
Yeah.
So my way of like being involved in the scene culture was, well, if I can't perform in the shows, I can at least like book them.
Be around them and be a part of it. Yeah.
So I learned how to do event management and digital marketing at the age of 17, 18. And super long story short, that transitioned to the strategies we were using on MySpace Organic, then transitioned into Facebook Organic in 2009, 2010.
Oh, wow. It's early days.
And whilst this was happening, I was studying at university. So I was at UWA.
What were you studying?
So I did a Bachelor of Commerce, and I did a double major in financial accounting and marketing, and a double minor in business law and economics.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I was always the goal, what I thought I was going to do was accounting. Like, I thought I was like...
Did you want to do accounting?
Well, I thought that's what I wanted to do because like I really enjoyed economics and I really enjoyed accounting in high school.
Yeah.
And I was very good at it. And I was like, oh, young, dumb and naive, 6-figure salary by like 25, 26 would be lit. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to become a chartered accountant, which is why I did a business law minor and a financial accounting major and an economics minor. And I did marketing because I liked it. That was the only thing in my degree that I liked. Everything else I despised.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I got it like 2 years into my degree and had the best experience of my life. So the whole reason I went to UWA was actually like a seed that was planted in my head when I was working. I worked at a bakery for 10 years from the age of 12 and a half or 12, 7 months and to like 21, 22 when I finished my degree. And the whole reason that I wanted to go to UWA was because of their exchange program. Because all I ever wanted to do was go and have the American college experience.
Yeah.
Like the quintessential American collegiate
experience.
All
the frat parties.
The frat. So I was a full brother in Sigma Phi Epsilon, Vermont Gamma was good. At the University of Vermont, and I did a whole year there and had one of the most incredible, life-changing personal development, incredible years of my life. And after I got back from my trip overseas, I was like, accounting's not for me. And I had to, because I did the exchange and because of, if I wanted to become a chartered accountant, I had to do all my accounting units at home. So my final semester of uni was the three hardest financial accounting units. Like I think it was financial statement analysis, advanced corporate accounting, and audit. Or maybe it was something else. I think
super exciting stuff.
Oh, mate, I came back. The ecstasy of being away for that long, coming back, and then having to do fucking accounting.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. And I remember when this is all going to tie in together. Here we go, fam. Up the rabbit hole we come. I remember finishing my final exam. I think it was advanced corporate accounting. And I remember calling my mum. And after the exam, I'm like, hey, mum. She's like, hey, Paul. I'm like, guess what? She's like, you finished? I was like, I fucking finished, mum. I didn't swear. I was like, I fucking finished. And she's like, oh, awesome. Like, what are you getting up to tonight to celebrate? And like before she could even finish that sentence, and I was like, and I'm never fucking doing accounting ever fucking again. I'm going to get my piece of paper. Like I was pretty confident I'd passed.
Yeah.
Like not with flying colors in the accounting because I did not care, but I was like, I'm never doing accounting again ever. And she goes to me, and I'm 21 in this story, and she goes to me, oh, well, you never know, Paul. Like you never know when it might come in handy one day. And I was like, right.
We hear that all the time. Yeah, I hear that as well.
Right. And I go,
nah,
man, fuck that. Like,
there's no way.
Nah, I'm done. Like, never. Like, I'm never going to use it, Like, anyway, like, fast forward to 2015, I start my business and I get my company set up on Xero. And, bro, it all made sense.
Yeah.
Like, it all came together. And I remember when I'd set everything up and I called my mum in the middle of the workday. And I was like, hey, mum. And she's like, yes, Paul. I was like, remember, like after my final accounting exam, when like you told me like you never know when it might come in handy one day. I just wanted to ring to tell you that you were right.
When you moved from this route of accounting and you've got a great background in those very business specific mindset, even though you were an emo kid at the start, now you're part of this band, One True North, and you're the musician. You do that as, would you call it? I don't want to term it as a side hustle, but it is something you're very passionate about.
It's a creative endeavor, and it's the high five for me through time. So when I was running those shows and not being able to sing or play an instrument, I mean, all I ever wanted to do, I was gifted Enema of the State in Blink-182's album Enema of the State. All the Small Things, What's My Age Again, like that album, by my cousin. I think I was 10 years old. Mum and Dad heard me playing it. They confiscated it from me. What is this swearing? And I found where they hid it.
Especially you don't want to hear Mother's Day.
Oh, mate, mate,
Like, your mom's like, oh, that looks like a nice song. Plays it on the family stereo. Dead.
Yep, you're going to your room and you're in a lot of trouble, Paul. So all I wanted to do was be a musician, and I didn't have the skill set, and that's what led me into the event, the marketing. And I have my goal of being a musician when I was really young to thank for me finding the path that I'm now on. And then it's kind of like gone full circle now. And to keep a story very, very short, basically full circle in the sense that now I'm a vocalist in One True North.
Yeah.
I do my best to try to sing, and it's an incredible. It's not really much a side hustle as much as it is. Well, I guess it's not a side hustle. We're not trying to make money. We're trying to bootstrap the revenue, so that we can keep reinvesting into growing the band and having more people enjoy and listen to our music.
Right. So it's still something you want to do regardless of money or anything of that sort.
100%.
It's a pure passion project.
We're like, I mean, after we film the music video next weekend, we're filming first music video next weekend.
Yeah.
After we film that, like, we'll be like Kane and I, so it's just the two of us in the band, Kane Baker and myself.
From Baker Creative.
Correct. Kane Baker from Baker Creative. Shout out Lisa and Kane. BakerCreative.com.au, I think. BakerCreativeDesign.com.au. I'm going to butcher that. Fact check me. We'll be like 6, 7, 8K. By the time we finish the album, which we're writing at the moment, we'll probably be like 13, 14K in the hole over the last 3 years.
Right.
But it's
so satisfying.
It's so satisfying. And it's also like, it's such a fun way to flex your creativity and give you an outlet outside of your work. And then also take the skills. So Kane and I are very yin and yang, both vocally, musically, sonically, and then as well as our roles in the band. So like, I run on the business side of the band. Like, let's be honest, I can't write music. I can help with melodies and help with like imagery and stuff, but like, I'm not a musician, and I still struggle to sing, Yeah. Kane, that's all Kane. I run all the business behind the scenes. I run all of the Spotify stuff, all the Facebook ads to promote the band, all that stuff. And I think when we did our EP launch, we've made about, like, just from streams and sales, I think we've probably hit about $1,000 just with the revenue.
That's pretty decent, actually.
Not bad.
I mean, for streams these days, especially what Spotify pays, that's actually...
You're making like less than 0.5 cent per stream.
Exactly.
But most of them, and to preface, like, a lot of those sales came from me hustling my audience and my friends being like, hey, could you support us?
Yeah.
And then literally every dollar, there was a campaign we did when we launched the EP, and every dollar, I was so transparent about it. It's like every dollar of music sales that we make will just literally be reinvested back into us running ads so more people can hear our music.
Now, it's with my podcast, it's called State of the Creators, and essentially with each of the person I'm speaking with, there's an overarching theme that I think of, right? The reason why I know your main thing is marketing and digital marketing, but obviously you've got this side of creativity in you. And the overarching theme that I thought would be best suited for you is how to actually market music in this digital age. And the fact that you said that you look at that side for your band, I think really sums up your personality, what you do, your strengths and stuff like that. And I think that's where even the audience would get the most value out of, because there are a lot of aspiring musicians and creators and stuff who love doing what they do, but they get stuck with being in front of people, right? And that's something you're trying to solve for your band as well. I think...
Well, look, we've solved it. I've cracked the code for Spotify plays from Facebook ads. 10 out of 10 relevancy score, 0.03 cents per click. Like, I grew... A little flex. I grew our audience, monthly listeners on Spotify, from 44 to close to 3,000 in the space of 3 weeks when we launched our EP, and I only spent $600 in ads.
So just that in itself, like what would, say, someone in your position be doing to get to that level of and I know, like, this is the biggest bands in the world probably don't do this on the daily. Not it's not true either. More like, say, someone who's just up and coming, right? A lot of the musicians don't really think about this side of the picture, right?
In my experience, I totally agree. In my experience, and I say this with utmost respect, and I also say this full well knowing that, like, I can kind of sing, still trying to learn how to do that well. No musical real bone in my body, like a little bit, but like, I'm not a musician. but I've been around so many musicians over the tenure of my last 15 plus years, doing shows, running shows, watching shows, being behind the scenes for shows, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest things before you even think about like how do you as an upcoming artist promote yourself, the first thing you really need to think about is psychologically, what the fuck do you actually want? Because so many musicians are so fucking romantic with their product that they stop themselves from actually getting it heard. And it's the same psychological trap that, small business owners or entrepreneurs get into when they start a business.
Absolutely.
Everything has to be fucking perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what's better than perfect? Like actually releasing a track.
Yeah, and I think that's you've just hit the nail perfectly there, because just finding out why you want to do this. It's okay if you just want to do music for yourself, right? But then don't get upset if nobody listens to it, because you are doing it for yourself. And if you want to, but at the end of the day, if you want more people to listen to stuff and more people to connect with your work and how you express, you have to do that at least partially, some of the commercial stuff. Like any big band in the world, like even if the most indiest band in the world that you love or admire would have that commercial aspect
100%.
to it.
And if you don't, it's age-old adage, like if you don't have eyeballs and ear holes, like on your music or listening to music or watching your music videos, like
What's the point?
You're irrelevant, dude. Like, and if it's just a creative pursuit, okay, if your music, and this is my opinion, if your music is just a creative pursuit and you don't want the world to hear it, power to you.
Yeah,
Sick.
exactly.
But don't fucking complain. Oh no, it's not getting anywhere. But like, these are the same people that like won't put themselves out there.
Exactly.
And I get it, because that perfectionism is just a fancy word for being egotistical and also like trying to protect your insecurities.
Yeah.
And I can say it with full knowledge. Like when I started vlogging, like I should have started vlogging a year and a half before I started vlogging. I did start vlogging a year and a half before I started vlogging, but I didn't release anything.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, I can't put this out. Shit. So then I spent 30 plus hours planning, storyboarding, filming, editing, promoting my first vlog, right? And I thought it was great. This first vlog's in when was it? 2017, 2016? I don't know, whenever the vlog one was.
Yeah.
I watch that vlog now and I'm like, that is the biggest dog's breakfast. My on-camera performance is terrible. The editing sucks. The video and the audio quality is just so shoddy. Can you even fly a drone, Paul? And this is the irony. I thought it was good at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like I think some of my content that I've released this year, I've only done 2 vlogs this year because of COVID and all the rest of it. I've released 2 vlogs this year and I'm pretty stoked, and some of the content needs a lot of improvement, but I've now gotten to the point where I'm like, I could make this a really fun cinematic experience. I could put a lot more effort into it, but I understand that like the shelf life of that piece of content, outside the long tail SEO stuff that I've optimized it for on YouTube, the keywords, like it's going to be seen and it's going to be forgotten. So it's like, focus on how it makes people feel or what they're going to learn from it. This is the vlogs anyway. And then like get rid of the perfectionism. So I publish stuff. I'm like, I could do a lot better than that.
Just ship it.
You got to ship it, man.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you just get stuck in, and you probably be able to relate to this as well with your
100%.
edits. You get stuck in the perfectionism hole, and then like nothing. You don't even move the
Nothing
needle in your
gets
business.
done. Nothing gets done. So with that though, if you would you be a full-time musician or a full-time, with One True North?
Probably not.
Okay, that's interesting.
I don't want to tour. I do want to tour, but just given the stage of life that I'm at, how much I love my business, how much Kane loves his business, and the stage of life that Kane's at, because Kane's been in bands his whole life and he's been touring. He's done the touring thing. He's done the record overseas thing. Obviously if we got offered some really cool, opening slots, support shows, we'd definitely do them. Just mainly experientially, I would love to. I think my goal anyway, I can't speak for Kane, but my goal anyway with One True North is just to write wicked music that we enjoy listening to, that connects with people, that they enjoy listening to, have heaps of fun with it, and like be sick to be a full-time studio band. That would be cool. Like I'd love to have a studio set up where we're just making. There's a band on YouTube which I've been listening to. They're an alt. They're a I don't even know the genre. It's like alt, post-hardcore, alt rock vibe. They're called Our Last Night. And if any musicians are listening, if you want the turnkey strategy on how to actually make money from your music, get listened to, and build your band and make a decent and even just from YouTube AdSense revenue, which you're only, as a musician, if you're covering songs, you're only making 50% because you pay 50% royalty to the actual artist. If you want to learn like how to grow a YouTube following as a musician, look at what Our Last Night does.
Right.
I don't know what they're doing at the moment with COVID, but basically like last year they were releasing basically a brand new, full quality, like produced, mixed, mastered, incredible alternative cover of every single top song that came out in that week.
Wow.
Or like one top song a week or one top song every 2 weeks. So what they're doing, they got over 2 million subscribers now, I think. So basically what they're doing is they're hacking the YouTube SEO algorithm. So imagine like a new song comes out by T Swift. Day it's released, they go into writing mode. They cover the whole song, they write it, they record it professionally, then record a live music video for it.
Yeah.
And then when you search Taylor Swift's, latest song
cover, the alt version,
they're ranking number 2, dude. Wow. Sometimes they're ranking number 2, like below the artist, just for the short tail keyword, because they've got such a huge channel, so they've got historical relevance.
Yeah.
And then it's just insane.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like the I don't know what the right idiom is, but it's kind of like the bait and switch.
Yes.
Oh, you like this cover? You like us? You like this kind of heavier stuff? Listen to our actual songs.
Yeah.
Follow us on Spotify.
Yeah.
Follow us on Apple Music. Brilliant.
But I think a lot of the bands on YouTube have done that in the past. To play the devil's advocate, for example, I think one of the more popular ones, I don't know if you've heard of them, it's called Boys Avenue. They're like very acoustic-y.
Okay.
They started like 10, 12 years ago, and they do like all these really popular songs, but really stripped down acoustic. I think it's just 2 brothers or 3 brothers, right? And they'd do that. Like then they'd have like their own songs. Like at the end of the song, they'd like do the plug or albums coming out and stuff. I've always known them for the cover songs, right? So I think even as a musician, while it's great for YouTube and presence and stuff, it's still a very fine balance to walk on, because it's like at one point you don't want to be known as the cover band. You want to be known as like for your own music and stuff.
I totally agree.
With Boys Avenue, they became so involved with covers, and their covers are brilliant, by the way. But their originals suck. Like no.
Well, maybe they're known as a cover band because their originals suck.
Could be
because it's all about. In my mind, and I totally agree with you. Like basic original 4 P's of marketing.
Yeah.
Price, placement. I went to university.
After 2 ciders, you lose the.
Oh, it's been a long week.
The 2 P's get out of the other way.
2 P's. But the one that I'm most focused on is now I've lost my train of thought. The one I was most focused on, product.
Yeah.
Product. You can't polish a turd.
No.
Like at the end of the day, polish that bad boy up as much as you want. It's still a piece of shit. So if your product sucks, no disrespect to just take a hypothetical band that does acoustic covers. If your product sucks, but your covers are good, you're going to be known as a cover band.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it is a mix of things that you need
100%.
to. Yeah.
But the covers create accessibility.
Absolutely.
They also create a side revenue,
Absolutely.
which allows you to bootstrap back into building and growing the real product.
100%. It's so true. It's like, I don't know if you like. I'm a big fan of John Mayer, right? Like I write his, his name everywhere.
Kind of thing. You play, that's right.
Yeah. So I'm like a big John Mayer fan.
You're good as well.
I'm okay. I don't do any originals, but I'm still a very cover, low-key bedroom guy. So with John Mayer, one of the things that he said, he was a blues guy, right? Like he absolutely loved blues, and he's an amazing blues guitarist, one of the best of his times. He got into he got his people listening to blues by doing a lot of the very big popular pop songs, right? So in his album, he would have like 2 or 3 big pop numbers, and then in like number 4 song or number 7 song, there'll be like a really bluesy number, right? So what that did was he actually, in a way, used those pop songs as a Trojan horse and got others to get into it, because of course his blues numbers were really good. That brought in the bigger crowd, and now I'm a blues fan because of that as well. Like I listen to a lot of the blues numbers, and I play a lot of bluesy music because of that. But if it wasn't for his one or 2 really commercial pop songs that made that accessibility, I don't think as a musician or even any creator, like think of YouTube as well. If you're making YouTube videos every day, and you don't do 1 or 2 that doesn't match the big trendy keyword searches for the week, you probably won't get the views that you want just through sharing with families and friends. It's a
Well,
very
100%. And with building, I totally agree. And
Yeah.
with building my audience, like I've had videos that have done
really
like,
good. Like some of your videos, like over 100,000.
I've got videos close to
to
500K, if not
Yeah.
over. I haven't checked.
Mm.
You know, not related to my brand, not related to my band. They've been
No.
a quick little money play. Like it took me 8 hours. It's a fun story. So I did 25 or 26, I always forget. So last year I vlogged every single week for 25, 26 weeks in a row. I released a new episode of my vlog every single Thursday, 9 p.m. AWST. Every single episode of that was season 3 of vlog. Every single episode of season 3 of a vlog was basically interconnected and interrelated to an overarching storyline and then keyword optimized individually for each episode.
Right.
And then I knew that like there was going to come a day, you know, with like client work being busy and, you know, just life and all the rest of
that
it.
will not take the priority.
That's it. So I knew that, but I committed to myself. I made the promise to myself. I set a goal. I was like, I'm going to give this weekly upload a red hot crack. Excuse me. So I knew there was going to be a week or two that I was going to need backup content. So I was minding my own business on Instagram one day and I got targeted by this ad for these things called black pods, which are basically like replica AirPods, but they're black. And I was like, like went to YouTube, looked at used my favorite YouTube plugin, TubeBuddy, pourmodel.com/TubeBuddy for anyone that's listening. You get $10 off, I think, your first month, or for a first month free. Anyway, quick plug. Looked at the keyword competitiveness. No one ranking for it. And I was like, oh, fam, I found a golden keyword.
Yeah.
So I bought them, like $50, business expense. Got them shipped to me. Didn't open them. Just had them sitting there for like a rainy day or rainy week when I needed content. Got to a Thursday, about September or so last year. Didn't have a vlog done. Thursday night, 9 p.m. I had to put a vlog out. Couldn't let the audience down. Couldn't let myself down.
Yeah.
11 o'clock or so in the morning, 10 o'clock or so in the morning, I start filming. I just did an unboxing, review, comparison to your normal AirPods. Filmed one take, hour and a half we're filming, 2 cameras simultaneously. Like one was my iPhone camera, the overhead camera, other one was just my DSLR. Filmed it, edited it up in 4 hours, did the thumbnail, did the YouTube SEO, did it all. 6-7 hour job, released it, did all right, did like 3,000-4,000 views in the first few weeks, cool. At this time I would have had like 5,000 subscribers. Well, maybe less, probably 3,500. Whatever, doesn't matter. But about that much. And then Unbox Therapy a month later, and this is like a 15-minute video, 17-minute video.
Yeah.
And I had like pre-rolls, post-rolls, 1 mid-roll, a few banners. Not much ads. Unbox Therapy did a review. I'm now winning like Black Pods, scam, like the real deal or scam, can't remember what the keywords were.
Yeah.
Black Pods review. Fake AirPods. Unbox Therapy does the video. Because I did the video before Unbox Therapy. They do a very similar keyword targeting strategy. I'm ranking above them in YouTube organic search results. And then the algorithm picks up my video and then I'm now recommended like every single time someone watched that Unbox Therapy video straight after. I made $1,800 in AdSense. And it's probably more now because it just
keeps coming
in. $1,800 of AdSense, 200,000 plus views, maybe it's more now.
Yeah.
From one video that took me 7 hours.
And
from
$50.
And $50 from a thought that I had one night when I was like on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I've put like, you know, there's some episodes of my vlog that I've probably dedicated like, you know, 100 hours plus into, you know, organizing, project managing, storyline, uploading, keyword, whatever, promotion. And I'm like, this is loose. Like I just made, and like $2,000, whatever. But like, it's just nuts when you pick the right, you know, I was very lucky, but like right time,
there's a little
right
bit
place.
of luck as well. But at the same time, you did have to put that thought into that. Okay, like you set yourself up for luck. I think that's the.
It was a preparation meets experience.
Exactly.
Thing. Yeah.
Just, you know, the key wasn't just appear out of nowhere, and you didn't just the thing didn't just come to your door out of nowhere. You knew that, okay, this could potentially be something.
100%.
So you set yourself up for luck, and I think that's what people misconstrue as well.
100%.
Like, oh, it's just lucky with it.
Yeah,
you are, but you have to set yourself up for luck.
Oh, 100%. And honestly, like if you know, if I didn't start, before I started Ramondo Media, I ran a bunch of AdSense, I was on AdSense, Amazon Associate based golden keyword websites, like not marketplaces, but basically like insert like niche keyword with low competition, high search volume, present products to that audience, rank it SEO, away you go. Passive income. But if I hadn't messed around with the, you know, building passive income websites when I was 22, 23, I wouldn't have understood that opportunity when I saw that ad advertised to me in my feed, you know? So I guess my big call to action for just in general is like, if you have an interest in something and you like it, like tickles your fancy, give it a go. Play around, you know? Especially if it's fun to you. If it's play, then like you don't need to make the money. You just learn, and it's fun, and then you don't know how it's going to come back. You know, yeah.
No, it's so true. With it's cool that you're kind of going back into YouTube as well. I saw your ad that you want to restart the vlog again and
100%.
and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
Do you want a job?
Why not? Let's start something. You know, there's this really cool guys that I follow, Colin and Samir.
I love them. Yeah, I was watching one of their videos earlier this week.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm a big follower of them, and they do that, you know, like they break down YouTube stuff and things like that. It's something I want to
love that
get
film in
into
their
some
car.
point. Yeah.
And this goes to show, like, maybe this is the subtle call to action. Like, you don't need a fancy studio. They film in their fucking car.
Exactly. All you need is, you know, just a good story and how to tell story and set yourself up for a bit of that luck. So, for sure. And I can see you're wearing the, you know, Maverick merch as well. So
love
like,
LP.
I'm guessing you're big into the LP.
Big fan.
I guess, you know, it's just nothing to do with business or anything like that, but your perspective on I guess the way I see it is I see you've got a lot of the similar energy, right? Like you're always switched on when I see you. Obviously I'm sure you have your time to recharge and take things slow. With that side of things in YouTube, you know, especially with LP and his younger brother, who I don't want to name, goes to show I'm not a big fan of JP, but at the same time, it's like I feel they're gone to a point where they're way more loud than substance. It's not so much with LP because I think he's matured a lot over time. What are your thoughts on content like that? Like, do you think is it just worth being loud just for the sake of views or just for the sake of, you know, eyeballs?
That's a great question. I really think it just goes back to like what your personal ethos is, you know? And touching on the JP thing, I don't know them at all. All I can do is like piece together an empathetic point of view and a strategic interpretation of an alt narrative as to what they're presenting, right? It was JP specifically, or even LP, like 2017 LP. So I could be completely wrong. This is just my opinion and from what I've like pieced together. The JP specifically, in terms of his the way the world sees him, he leans into it 100%. He's playing the villain. It's a great strat. Like, I don't think I honestly don't, not that I know behind closed doors, I don't think that he is anything like his on-camera persona.
Right.
I think
so you think it's all entirely a character that he's playing?
It's a caricature, bro. It's 100% like part of his overarching business strategy and model. JP's more successful than Logan. Like, he's like 23, professional boxer, like YouTube superstar, infamous. He's more infamous in the mainstream. He's more infamous in general than LP, and that's after LP's scandal in late 2017. You know, I think JP just likes that. He rolls into it, and it's profitable for him. And then I guess again, what the fuck do I know? You know?
Of course, we don't know them behind doors.
100%. But I think that's what's happening. You know, and I can attest to that. Like 2017 vlog me, like it is 17 vlogs in 2017, and that on-screen caricature of myself, which was like my personality turned up to 12 out of 10 in terms of volume, when it's usually like 9 or 10 out of 10. It's not me. You know, I'm putting on a show, I'm playing a character. And my goal when I restart the vlog next year, once I get the creative on board, is really like less hype, more me. But naturally there's going to be hype because I am me, you know? Just more authentic. Like, you meet me, like, basically like what you see is what you get is like the big goal in terms of content transparency next year.
Awesome.
You meet me in person, you meet me on the internet, same thing.
Same person. I think that's cool. And I think that's a lot of the thing, you know, a lot. it's hard to be a JP if you're actually you're putting on caricature, right? Like it's hard for someone to be not yourself, if that makes sense. Like it's essentially acting, right? It's what actors do. So for someone who's general or inspiring creator and stuff, it's better to be yourself in person.
A lot of people find it hard, right? So
that's true as well.
I developed a caricature on camera because I was like, this is 2017, right? So this is like year of the LP takes over over YouTube, and obviously massive inspiration for me back in the day, and you know, those parts of my personality, like the loud, brash, like in your face, like that's part of me. And I'm like, cool, let's dial it up.
Yep.
Put on a show. I like performing. I had a good point about where I was going with this. Transparency, you're gonna have to bring me back. Went on a tangent just then.
You know, you've just went and
yeah, cool, got it. Ready? So I definitely use the caricature of Paul Raimondo on camera to defend and deflect criticism of my content and of me, because I was able to like brush it off psychologically as, oh, well, it's not really me.
So do you think that came out of insecurity?
Oh, 100%. Like 100%. Now I'm at a place where I'm like,
where you're in line with yourself and who I am, and it's okay if you criticize me. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I've also got more runs on the board. I've got more self-efficacy. I've done a lot of self-work.
Do you think you would have gotten to this stage if you hadn't done that in the past?
Shit, no.
Okay, so you had to go to that journey to be where you are.
I think, and you know, in my experience, like I had to do it. I can't speak for other people, but I think with anything in life, like, you know, you have to really fail and really just to be open to failing fast, quickly, and learning from that in order to progress. You know, if you don't take a swing, you don't, you know, try and give it a shot. Like,
I think
anywhere.
Taking a swing is definitely, you know, the best way to learn. It's how I've always learned, and while it's important to know some objective side of things, like, you know, with keywords, for example, I think you there's so many probabilities. You can't just put all keywords, and I don't know how that works, but essentially you could have some objective learning, but at the end of the day, you have to do it to actually learn your path.
I totally agree.
Yeah. One other thing that really interests me in your side of things is how organized you are, and you do have kind of a minimalistic approach to you know, the way you set things up. And you recently did like a studio, you know, makeover where you had all this kind of wires and everything's kind of cool in one space. Everything's automated and stuff like that. How much of that impacts, you know, your business, your creativity, and
all of it?
And how did you get to that point? Like, were you always disciplined throughout your life, or is this something you pick up? What would you, I guess, the point being, what would you recommend someone trying to get into that lifestyle? 100%.
Systems, processes, and automations, and then an unwavering desire, and I'm also a nerd, and an unwavering desire to be as present to every moment that I can be. And I think that's born out of like naturally ADHD. I think it's my superpower. I had struggled with learning when I was a kid. The only way that I was able to kind of get things done was to write them down, you know, block them out. Maximize the use of Parkinson's law, and Parkinson's law denotes that a task will either shrink or expand to fit the space in which you allot for its completion. So I realized at a younger age, especially as I was motivated to get into uni and go into the American college thing, I had to get good marks in my final exams, my TE, otherwise I wasn't going to be able to achieve the goal. So I think it's a combination of everything, and we're good for time.
Yeah,
cool. Combination of everything, and it's like, for me, I need to be present and focused on the task that at hand at any given point in time, and if I can leverage systems, processes, technology to automate mundane things, then I'm going to be more focused on the task at hand. So I actually focus on moving the needle forward rather than like, well, I could save myself $200 a year by not paying for this automation subscription, but that's going to cost me, I don't know, 12 hours, an extra hour a month. That's 12 hours. Call it 2 days worth of work, 2 days worth of billings, or 2 days I could take a vacation, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I think about things.
Right.
And even with my home, like so I just purchased my first home, and my goal, like 60% of the way there, is to automate every single thing in my home that I can. So like, I've got everything's voice controlled through the HomeKit. So I've got voice controlled blinds. I've got voice controlled lights. I've got my HomePod. I've got, I've just purchased an August smart lock. So literally I'm going to be able to leave home with either just this or just my watch.
Right.
And like get into my building and get into my apartment without having the keys.
Right.
Or let anyone into my apartment, assuming they have a fob, anyone get in my apartment from anywhere in the world. You know? These automations, these routines, the Internet of Things allows me to then be more present.
What is, I guess, the hardest thing about working in the industry?
I'm in a customer service business, client services.
Yeah.
Picking these days, love all our clients are absolutely fantastic. However, I'm very, very picky about who we work with. I've left tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table because I'm like, you're not the right fit for us.
Right.
We're not the right fit for you. And I don't care how much you want to pay me. I'm not trying to put myself in an early grave by trying to appease your ridiculous expectations.
Right.
So I think one of the hardest things is, especially when you're starting, you have to take on work from people that that expectations aren't really mapped to reality.
Yeah.
I think that's just like the entrepreneur's journey, right?
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most challenging things that I experienced back at the start of the business. I think the first like few years of starting any business is going to be a lot. I think and all the mistakes that I've made and all the, the things that I've learned, like, burning out as many times as I have, and I haven't burnt out in 2 years now, which is fantastic. But I wouldn't have been able to, the process systems, automation, the 10,000 steps a day, they're going to the gym, they're eating healthy, they're having a good sleep schedule, not sleeping 4 hours a night because I thought that I could sleep when I was dead. Like all these lessons that I've learned from these mistakes that have had such a significant impact on my mental and physical health over the years since I started my business have led me to the level up that I am now. But I've still got so much to learn.
Yes.
And I think, and it's a Gary Vee thing, and it's just so true. And I can just patience, man.
Yeah.
Like I had a crazy thought, like I'm 30. I've been doing this for, since my year 6, right? 30 in year 6 of my business. I've been in the industry since I was like 17, 18. I've done all these things and like, I've still got another 30 years, dude. 30 years until I'm 5 years off traditional retirement, 65, which will probably be 70 in Australia by the time that we get there. And then, so that's 40 years, which is like more than double. Wait, 40 years. It is, I'm so bad at maths. 5 times as long as what I've had the business for already.
Yeah.
And then like, that's loose, man. I built this much in this amount of time. I built this network. I've had these experiences.
Isn't it? Because
it's so much. There's
so much left to do. There's so much to do. It's interesting as well. You talk about the journey. There's someone I actually interviewed in season 1 of my podcast. He posted something yesterday about like there's no matter how much you learn from others, like through their experiences, through blueprints, and it's important that you do. But at the end of the day, it's probably more important to live your own truth, like learning those truths through your own experiences. And I think that's what you did because obviously we all know it's bad to burn out. But to get to a point where you actually physically, mentally, and emotionally realize that, I've burnt out and these are the things I can't do, I should do, and I shouldn't do, that's your own truth. And I think that's a very powerful thing for anyone is that you have to walk that path to realize that, okay, this is who I am.
100%.
And then use that for the next 40 years, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. And like actually like being self-aware and listening to what your body's telling you and what the experiences that you've traversed have like taught you, And it's, there's things are cliche for a reason. And, like everyone that's in self-development and all the rest of it, like things are repeated for a reason because it's, the more personal the issue, the more universal the experience of that issue by everyone, right?
Absolutely.
But sometimes you've just got to live it yourself.
Yeah.
Or you think you're exceptional, you think you're special. And don't get me wrong, some people are. I'm definitely not. I'm like, oh yeah, I can like do this and like abuse my body and like not eat enough and not sleep enough and abuse my body with caffeine and all the rest of it and burnt out, fucked my adrenals. Like, like it was loose, man. Like mum and dad, my friends are like, I lost like 10 kilos.
God.
I'm like, Paul, you look gaunt. Like, I dropped down to, put it in perspective, like when I was lifting and I was a gym rat when I was younger, I was like 92 kilos at 22 years old. Wow. And like, I wasn't like fat, like a bit of not fat tight. Like I wasn't fat.
Yeah, yeah. But you a bit of mass.
Oh yeah, and I was strong, dude, like a big boy.
Yeah.
And then I lost that. I dieted like 10 of that off, and then my maintenance weight was 85. And then I was like, I want to get down a bit more, like get a bit more slender. And then my maintenance was around 78. And then after about 2 years of burning myself out and burning the candle at both ends and working literally like 90 to 100 hours a week for 2 years, wearing my hustle like a badge of honor because I was like, sleepers for the week. No one can out hustle me, motherfuckers. And I fucking just dropped. Like I just was fucked, like emotionally, mentally, physically fucked. And by the end of it, like before I fully like had like threw the towel in, I was like, I'm fucked. Like my friends and family are like really worried about me. You could like I got down to like 72 kilos. So like that's a 20 kilo, you know?
Yeah.
And like you could see like the bones in my face because I was malnourished, bro. Like you can't live off Monster and Red Bull all day, every day, dude. Like it doesn't, and not sleep, it doesn't work. The black bags I used to get under my eyes, man, like, you know, it was loose. So I guess take care of yourself. Yeah. And I also aged here's a word of warning, fam. Like I aged myself. Like I look at photos of me 25 and I look at photos of me at 27. I think I aged myself like double. I think I would look a lot younger than I do now
if you hadn't.
Had I taken care of myself.
Yeah.
And I probably, honestly, like, I've probably taken some years off my life, which is frustrating because I want to live to 111 because I want to see three centuries.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
It would be cool. As long as I'm of sound mind and body, I'm really weird, fam. As long as I'm on sound mind and body, if I'm not of sound mind and body, like when I'm older, I'm just going to euthanize myself. Like, just turn it off. Like,
that's it. Yikes.
That got dark.
What is quality to you?
What is quality in the context of what?
In the context of, I guess, something creative, or it could be in the context of marketing as well. Like if you're doing a campaign or if you're making music. I know they're very broad examples, but that's
very,
the question.
Very, very open-ended question. What is quality? Does it make you feel good? And quality is subjective as well.
It is, and that's why I asked that question to all my everyone I speak with is that how do you see quality? And I get a really wide variety of answers.
I got this. We go full circle. The JP thing.
Yeah.
Do you think what JP is doing right now is quality?
Not in the context of building culture, but if his intention is to make money.
But do you think it's quality?
No.
Got it.
No.
I think what he's doing is quality.
Right.
In terms of especially his boxing career. He KO'd Nate Robinson early this week.
Yeah.
Loose.
Yeah.
He's become a professional boxer in 2 years. Loose. He is an incredibly successful entrepreneur. Do I think his execution has been above reproach? And, no, I don't think that's quality.
Right.
But I think there's aspects to what he's doing which are real quality. So I think the quality thing is subjective. And the same thing, like he could have he's got his super fans. They think everything he's doing is quality,
Right. So for me, it's more like the way I define quality is that it needs to add value to a certain level, right? And I think that level is defined. Like for example, is a McDonald's burger quality compared to, I don't know, like short order burgers? I don't know, like
short order.
So good,
so good, dude.
but you know what I mean? Like you could tell that there's a difference in quality in the sense that like a quickly $2 cheeseburger compared to a $15 short order burger, right? McDonald's is still quality in the idea that their market for who they're marketing towards, they're achieving that, right? So from that aspect, I would say JP is quality because what he intends to achieve, he's 100%. Getting that, right? So he's successful, he's brilliant at what he does in getting what he's trying to achieve. But in the context of, say, what's the best burger out there, you probably wouldn't say the $2 cheeseburger, if that makes sense.
Oh shit, no. Yeah,
and I guess that's where and this is again from my personal way of looking at things, is that quality requires a bit more complexity. It needs to add value to a certain extent where it's not just for everyone, but when everyone tries it, they understand there's difference in terms of complexity of how it's created. So other YouTubers, for example, even Logan Paul, I would say is in terms of quality better than LP and JP.
Yeah.
But again, that's how I define things.
Of course. Yeah. And there's different aspects to quality, right? You look at Mr. Beast, and are his videos shot in a good quality? No, but that's part of the aesthetic.
Exactly, and that's what I mean.
He is one of the most quality
exactly.
YouTubers on the platform right now.
I mean, if you talk about aesthetic cinematography and stuff like that, and then you compare Mr. Beast with, I don't know, like Peter McKinnon or someone, it's like, no, it's like it's not like Peter McKinnon is a cinematographer. Like, he is in that film world and he does all things in a very aesthetic way and stuff like that. But it's that, like, that's a certain quality. But again, Mr. Beast that's not his
100%. Yeah, it's different.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's your crowd's different, your approach is different, your goals are different.
Yeah.
So it is very, and that's why I asked this question, because it's
so subjective.
It's subjective, but it also, I think, grounds a lot of the pre-existing notions we have about what we think is great and what we think is bad. And I think when you start opening up these questions in the broader context of things, I think people start appreciating things a bit more.
100%. I think with the question of quality, I think I do this quite a lot. Like, it's like, what else could this mean? Because I'm fascinated with the idea of understanding things, and I know that I don't have any answers. I have a small little bit of information about a few select minute things, like, is it quality? Like, when I see a Facebook ad campaign by a competitor, or not competitor, just by anyone, I go like, is it quality?
Yeah.
Or a competitor sees some of the ads that we're running for our clients, they're like, this is so shit. Like, well, it's doing like a 30x. Is it shit? Would you just not think it's quality? You know?
Yeah, and I guess that's where, like, for me, for example, like, I don't like Jake Paul for his theatrics and stuff, but I appreciate the success he has. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that comes from the understanding that quality is, a broad scale of things. In the grand scheme of things, for me, quality needs to have complexity and add to culture and add value, and that's where JP for me falls off. But I understand that he is quality for his goals and ethos and success and things like that. And in the grand scheme of things, he or anyone around those, on those aspects, probably won't be able to get to a level of, I don't know, like a higher end filmmaker or something like that in the mainstream, but they still do what they're doing in that aspect. That's why it's such an open-ended question. And you can really go in depth.
It's a debatey question.
It is, and usually I get a variety of answers, and that's what fascinates me. Like, the way I see people answer, I think says a lot about how they view things. And I think when the audience listens to this answer as well, I think it gives them, like, if I wasn't this open-minded, I probably wouldn't even appreciate Jake Paul for what he does. I'd be like, fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. Yeah.
All the way through. But now I've got an open-ended, like, appreciation for pretty much everything and anything. So I think that was the main thing.
Great question.
We're going towards the end of the podcast. Anyone you personally look up to in your side of line of work, whether it's music, digital marketing, and so forth?
100%. Like, I think what Machine Gun Kelly and Travis Barker are doing at the moment in the pop punk scene is absolutely incredible, and that tickles my fancy both musically as much as it tickles it marketing wise. Like, they are crushing it, and it's so cool, and it makes my, like, cold, dark, emo, black heart so happy. In terms of professionally in the marketing side of business, shout out to Charlie Lawrence, shout out to Dan Knowlton, shout out to Gavin Bell. These are friends of mine, colleagues of mine from across the world that we're in a mastermind together. We catch up on Zoom every 2 weeks. They are doing very similar things to what I'm doing, cut differently. They inspire me so much, seeing how they're building their businesses, the culture they're building, the way that they look at business and ethics and service and client delivery, like, incredible.
Yeah. Your personal goal in 5 years?
Personal goal in 5 years? Great question. I hope to just, honestly, man, like, personal goal in 5 years, I think my business is always going to take care of itself. Like, I would just, love to be starting a family, a bit more settled. That's kind of like the real big one for me. And then I guess professionally, like, just keep making an impact. Like, 100,000 subscribers on YouTube would be cool if I could execute it and build the machine. And yeah, just like literally waking up every day and just like being just vibed for life, like, that's the goal. And also being able to have more time off. That would be nice.
Let's burn out.
Yeah.
Finally, for someone who's listening who is a creator and wants to get into the journey that you have gone, it doesn't have to be specific to your path, but any advice, and this has to be actionable advice, right? Like not like, oh, follow your dreams and follow your passion, but more like A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, like 3 things that they can do to start creating and really making value for others.
Get crystal clear and define what it is you want and why you want it. Then just get obsessed with figuring out how to make it reality, whether that's YouTube videos, research, buying like an entry-level online course. You can probably find all the content for free, let's be honest. Reaching out to people that are already doing it. You'd be surprised as to how helpful people will be when you ask them in the right way for their guidance and their mentorship, even if it's just like a coffee or like whatever, like people that you want to emulate, that inspire you, will most likely, variable to time, will want to help you because they were where you're at once,
right?
You know? So once you figured it out, then put the things in place and just fucking do it. Like, get the fuck out of your own way and do it. Like, then there's so much personal and psychological growth that has to happen. Like, you need to become the person psychologically that is able to achieve that goal that you set yourself before you can achieve it.
Right.
Because once the psychology is there, then it's just a matter of time. But what I see a lot of people get stuck on is they keep hammering away at trying to achieve a goal. They put the time in, but they never really get there because they end up self-sabotaging, or they like will get distracted, or they don't believe in themselves. Like, it all starts with your inner game before it manifests into the outer world.
Absolutely. That's brilliant. Any final words before we part ways?
Thank you so much for having me. It's been lots of fun. I hope for those that are still listening, you've enjoyed today's podcast. And subtle plug, if you'd like to learn more about me, hit me up on Instagram. It's Paul Ramondo, PaulRamondo.
Fantastic. Paul, it was a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Bye.
You.